Nadine Dorries is completely entitled to go into the jungle. Even if people are concerned about it, it is an act of utter madness for the Conservative Party to withdraw the whip. It suggests that they have absolutely no grasp about the zeitgeist of the nation.
Well, what about the fact that she's missing a month's constituency work? She'll be missing a few key debates, and actually, you know, it doesn't really help any gravitas, does it, that MPs want to exude?
OK, so let's confirm then that no MP is allowed to have a holiday of more than 4 weeks, because effectively that's pretty much the same thing. Presumably MPs need to work on Sundays. That's another 52 days they can serve their constituents every year. And what's the minimum working time that an MP has to put in? You know, I actually judge people by results. I've got no political reason for being in the studio here, but I'm outraged by the fact that she's being pariahed for doing something which might reconnect politics with the public.
What about the fact that it seems to be career suicide?
Well, OK, which is worse? Nadine Dorries appearing in the jungle and maybe appealing to millions of people who aren't interested in politics, or the allegations about David Cameron being involved in some social way with the former editor of the News of the World. Now, really, there is a completely different kettle of fish to be considered when it comes to the Cameron-Rebecca Brooks thing compared to what Nadine Dorries does. So they're walking on very thin ice here by suggesting what she's done is so bad she needs to have the whip withdrawn while Cameron carries on. I like David Cameron, by the way, and I'm hoping he wasn't behind this decision.
What about the fact that her constituents may want to speak to her? Do they just tweet the programme and hope it gets through?
You know as well as I do that, well, that's not a bad idea, and hopefully our Ant and Dec will take note of that. But the reality is, of course, that members of Parliament have usually very capable staff, and I do think that Nadine has very good staff who take care of much of the work that takes place. But this is the question that I ask your viewers. Is it wrong for Nadine to take what is a courageous step? And she won't have been in there for the money. It'll be other reasons.
Well, it is £40,000. Where's that going?
Well, I suspect. Well, you have to ask her that. But that's not. My very point is, it won't be about the money. It's about her genuinely trying to reconnect. And there's this great cynicism about Nadine, but just recognise she's been a bit of a thorn in the side of the government because she tends to say it like it is, and sometimes she's been critical of her own party. I suspect that's the subtext which is causing the trouble. Ironically, the one person who should be voting for her to stay in the jungle is David Cameron, because the longer she's there, the less time she'll have to cause him problems in PMQs.
Well, who knows whether he'll be doing that. I mean, you were bitten by a snake on the finger, I think, weren't you? And kicked out after 14 days. Did you enjoy the whole episode?
To be fair, 16 days. You underestimate me. I loved it, actually. No emails, no phone calls, a very simple life. I lost ½ a kilo a day. It's like a fantastic detox, and it gave me time to think as well. I think Nadine's very well suited to this.
I was going to say, I mean, how is she going to cope with all those jungle tasks?
I think she'll cope quite well because she's an independent-minded person. I believe her family is very supportive of her decision. I hope they are anyway. And if there are fools in the jungle, and oftentimes there are, she'll probably point that out. So the biggest problem she'll have is with the human animals rather than the wildlife. And I wish her good luck. I've never voted Conservative before, but on this occasion, I'm going to make an exception.
But you accept that there is a degree of cynicism about what is seen by many people as just a brazen publicity-seeking attempt.
Well, what alternative does she have? She's been excluded from the mainstream of her own party. She's regarded as a wild backbencher that the leadership can't control, and that's probably all true. But at the same time, Nadine has got something to offer. I know her pretty well, and I regard her as a friend. What Nadine Dorries does is she thinks for herself. She doesn't always obey the whips because her conscience tells her otherwise. I've got different political views to her, but she's got a moral basis. She's dreaming if she thinks that's going to be reported in the edited version of The Jungle. But maybe her personality and her character will get through. And at a time when politics has been terribly discredited, we need these kinds of voices, these kinds of characters to start to rebuild it. So I'm saying to the Tories, please rethink this. To withdraw the whip simply says you're not in touch with the zeitgeist of the nation.